Welcome to the video. This is another in the series of Dave's Fave 500, where I pick some of the best albums, well, the best 500 albums in my collection. And you might think that's a lot of records, 500, but I've been buying records for over 50 years, so that's only 10 a year. It's not many, is it? So, I've been meaning to do this video, or a version of this video, for about 2 years now. And I wanted to kind of, rather than just pick isolated albums, do kind of a feature video on Americana music. Because just like those of you who've been around for quite some time, in the 70s I was into classic rock and progressive rock and then punk and then new wave and then new romantic stuff and the kind of more experimental Frankie Goes to Hollywood, experimental pop of the 80s. And then there was a bit of a resurgence, if you can remember, of kind of roots music in the mid 1980s as well, where we started to see artists like Nancy Griffiths and Green on Red come to the UK. And I remember seeing both of those artists, bar-stroke bands, in tiny club in Newcastle. They're absolutely fantastic. And then we ended up in the 90s where, dance came along. My nightclub years were over then, so I wasn't so much into dance then by that time. But we had that kind of grunge, Nirvana, Alice in Chains, Pearl Jam. I bought this stuff, but it didn't really grab me. And then Oasis, I was swept away by Oasis. Bit of a Blur fan, but more of an Oasis guy. But I was absolutely oversaturated by Oasis within a few years. So even though I bought just about everything they released in those early years, I played them to death. And I was looking for something new. And then towards the end of the 1990s, this resurgence of kind of roots music started to take hold again. And at the time I was buying and reading the likes of Mojo and Uncut magazine. And this CD, front cover CD, came out with Uncut, Sounds of the New West, and the best of alternative country. So let's just talk about it now. The definition of Americana music, really hard to pin down. It's very broad, but I've just gone into Google and I thought it's as good a place as anywhere to start. Any place to start. So it says here, Americana is a genre of contemporary music that blends traditional American roots styles like folk, country, bluegrass, and blues, creating a distinct sound that is often roots-oriented. It's an all-encompassing and inclusive genre, with artists often drawing from multiple influences to create a sound that is authentic and less commercial. And it certainly is a bit less commercial, because there's a couple of albums I've got here, a couple of them on CD, almost impossible to find these days. So Americana. It really this CD was absolutely brilliant. So it includes the likes of Hazeldean, the Flying Burrito Brothers, Josh Rouse, Emmylou Harris, the Pernice Brothers, Neil Casale, Willa Grant Conspiracy, Wagon, Freetwalker, Vic Chestnut, Calexico, the Hanson Family, Lamb Chop, Silver Jews, Will Oldham, 16 Horsepower, the Walkabouts, Nadine, and Emmylou Harris again. And I bought albums by all of those artists and many, many more. So when I tried to come to distill my what was going to be my top 10 Americana albums, it's an impossible task. So what I'll do, I'm just picking out 10 great albums today that will form part of my Dave's Fave 500. What I'm not going to cover are the big hitters, the old guard. So I've made a list of some of the bands that would fall within the genre of Americana. So the band, the Flying Burrito Brothers, mentioned on that CD, Ry Cooder, who I love, John Prine again, Guy Clark, Townes Van Zandt, Gene Clark, and Johnny Cash, later Johnny Cash in particular, I think. And then in the 80s, I mentioned Green on Red and Nancy Griffiths, but we had Mary Chapin Carpenter, Jason and the Scorchers, the Long Riders, Steve Earle came along, Lyle Lovett, Los Lobos, and then, you know, my notes go on and say, in the last 30 years, there's been so many more. I checked Google some time ago and threw up, and just put Americana bands or artists in the search. And it came up with 390 pages of 21 artists on each page. That's 8,190 artists or bands in total that fell under the umbrella of Americana maybe about a year ago. So I can only scratch the surface here. So, but also it's a fact that artists and bands don't necessarily come from North America. Never mind USA. Which will be shown in my selections here. So one of the things, so there's some labels that are really worth seeking out. The best one for me was always Glitterhouse, which I think is based in Germany, bizarrely, but has a fantastic roster of Americana artists and pumped out in the 90s and the early 2000s dozens and dozens and dozens of compilations, cheap compilations that I hoovered up with all of these bands and artists I'm talking about today, pretty much, but also some hard to find tracks, demos and things like that, just brilliant. But we also got Ryko Disc, City Slang and Loose Records were also really, really good as well. So albums. So after this preamble, trying to make my excuses for not getting to this earlier, albums that have kind of really resonated, they're really strong. The first one, and I mentioned it because they appeared on this compilation here, and that is, I think is this a debut album? The Black Light from Calexico. Now Calexico, fantastic artwork here. Anything on the inside? Oh, there's something else on the inside here for those of you who are dead keen. So the Black Light, we got a booklet which has got essays and discussions with the band. Really excellent. This is a reissue, of course, because I don't even think it came out on vinyl first time round when it was released. We got a date on here. I don't know. I can't find it, but late 80s, late 90s. So anyway, kind of a Tex-Mex feel. Very cinematic, and those of you who follow this band beyond the Black Light will know that some of the stuff they do is soundtrack standard. Lots of kind of instrumental tracks as well. Really beautiful and big in scale, you know, like typical soundtrack stuff. But yeah, that border country kind of vibe that came through on Springsteen's Ghost of Tom Joad, very strong here. And I'm sure that those of you who in the USA who kind of follow Tex-Mex music will be able to draw parallels between Calexico and others. Ry Cooder, of course, comes to mind. Fantastic in that regard. A band from Norway, the best band ever from Norway, question mark, is Midnight Choir. And this is Unsung Heroine. Now, is this about the fourth album? 1998 this came out. Produced by Chris Ekman, who I think was involved with the Walkabouts. And he plays on here, but Paul Flatter, Ron Olson, Al DeLona, Paul H. Kruger. Melancholic. They had an album that came out before that called Amsterdam Stranded, which I've never found on vinyl. This is the CD. Really good. Very melancholic. Again, broad, sweeping soundtrack feel. Has a beautiful... The singer is great. It's all in English, of course. Paul Flatter's vocals are very, very good. Very yearning. And the guitarist, Al DeLona, it's got this lovely creamy sound, very, very melodic. Some of these tracks go on for quite some time. We've got the title track is 8 minutes and 11 seconds. Painting by Matisse is 9 minutes 43. just absolutely gorgeous, gorgeous music. So yeah, Midnight Choir, the best band to come out of Norway. A band out of the US. I could have done loads of research on these bands and tell you exactly where they come from, but something tells me Illinois. But this is only because there's a track on this album called "The Giant of Illinois," so it's probably not. But this is the Hanson Family and the album "Through the Trees." This is beautiful. I think it's a husband and wife kind of duo. Lots of kind of accordion in this. Talk about melancholic. This is kind of really dark in places. Wonderful storytelling on this album. Weightless Again is gorgeous. Very sad about people wanting to feel weightless again, and that's why people jump off the Golden Gate Bridge, as the lyrics go. Cathedrals, as I say, the Giant of Illinois, which is wonderful. Yeah, Bury Me Here. So yeah, last night I went out walking. Oh yeah, My Ghost. Wonderful, really dark stuff. Fantastic. More kind of mainstream, not least because they became really successful. And that is, I think it's the second album by Wilco, Being There. Jeff Tweedy, Jay Bennett, John Stirratt, Max Johnson, Ken Kuma. Double album. You'll know Jeff Tweedy by now. You'll know Wilco by now. Kind of got that ramshackled feel. This kind of has the similar vibes of Exile on Main Street. Just a whole, but like they almost captured everything in the studio, and just kind of just threw it all on here, and it's very, very varied. But really good. On Jeff Tweedy, I've just got round to playing his triple latest album. And you know what I was thinking of? I was thinking of another artist that I'm going to talk about here, and I'll come back to that. It's the second last artist in this little pile. But yeah, great album. Absolutely great. Not one that I go back to, often. It's almost like this is a double album. It's just too much to digest. Here is a band which I think who's from South London. Seen these a couple of times back in the 90s, early 2000s. Two brothers at the heart of this band, and they've got a fantastic, again, yearning vocals, roots instruments, great storytelling, and that is Grand Drive. And this is True Love and High Adventure. And this vinyl is a double pack on triple vinyl, which goes with the first album they released called Road Music. There we go. You get a chance of seeing all that. But yeah, on True Love and High Adventure, Wheels, A Ladder to the Stars, which is a really moving tribute to a father and son relationship. Absolutely gorgeous. The title track, One Last Parade. Bit slow in place. I remember seeing them in an absolute tiny place in Leicester. And I took Jill along, and to this day she says it's possibly the best concert she's ever been to. And it was just so small and intimate, but they're connected with that small audience so well. It was wonderful. This is definitely worth searching out. It's better than the Road Music, so True Love and High Adventure. If you have a choice, go for that one. A band out of Denver, Colorado, and this is not on vinyl, it's on CD, and that is 16 Horsepower, and this is their album Secret South. Who is it? It's the main singer, Edwards. Let me just get this. Craigie. David Eugene Edwards. Yeah, really dark stuff here. Really dark. He uses sometimes the effect of like an old 1920s microphone on his vocals, so his vocals are sometimes very distorted. But this has got like banjo a lot, but there's a lot of drive to this music, and it's like deep sounds and brum. Oh, it's hard to describe. Getting carried away here, but it's just like Oh, it's intense. Intense. That's the word to describe. And there's a live album they released soon. You can see the similar artwork here that they released called Horse, where they close off this live album with a version of Joy Division's Day of the Lords, and it sounds perfect. It's absolutely great. He went on to form a band called Woven Hand, who are also brilliant. I would love Secret South on vinyl. Never seen it, never heard of it being released on vinyl. Let's have a campaign, see if we can get it released. Another CD, another band. This is one is really, really hard to find. Saw this guy come to Newcastle. Just languid. Anyway, who is it? It's Ramsey Midwood. And the title the title of this album is called Shootout at the OK Chinese Restaurant. And as I say, languid, really kind of loose and sparse with a sense of humour. I've got a ticket here. I got a ticket here that is faded from the gig. But I remember I dropped them an email asking for. This was in the year 2000. What a great sound, great gig. And I wanted a live show on CD. And they wrote back and saying, or he wrote back and said, there's a live in Glasgow show that should be ready within the month. And there's, I think it's a bit of a download kind of thing going on. I don't think I ever got around to getting that, sadly. But he released a couple more albums, I think, or maybe one more album. And then, as far as I can tell, it's pretty much disappeared. But what have we got here? We got vocals, guitar, banjo, harmonica, drums, organ, accordion, fiddle. It sounds congested, but it's not. It's very spare, very sparse. But he's just got this drawl. It reminds me of like a persona like Kinky Friedman, but with that sense of humour as well. Really good. Ramsey Midwood, Shootout at the OK Chinese Restaurant. 3 more. This one, again, has not been on vinyl, and I don't know why I picked this album, but I think it's absolutely great. And that is the actor Billy Bob Thornton and his album Private Radio. And I think he was with Angelina Jolie at this particular point, and there's a song here called Angelina, and then he's got this track, Forever, which is kind of like a spoken word, but then this really laid back singing, super atmospheric, really, really great album. He followed this up. I've got at least one more album by him, but this is the one I keep going back to. And again, I'd snap that up in an instant if I could find that on vinyl. But that's definitely recommended. Billy Bob Thornton, not just a pretty face. An artist. When I mentioned Jeff Tweedy, I was thinking about this guy, Ryan Adams, and his debut album, Heartbreaker, after he left Whiskey Town, after he kind of disbanded Whiskey Town. Jeff Tweedy, both Jeff and Ryan, prolific, pump out stuff all over the place. I think Ryan Adams has got, he's ahead of Jeff Tweedy in terms of his ability to produce melody. Brilliant. He's the singers, they're not too different, but this guy has a gift for melody, which is wonderful. This particular debut album is kind of acoustic based. So the follow-up Gold, it's got a band thing going on. It's it's a great album, but this is wonderful. Opens up with an argument with David Rawlings concerning Morrissey. That is literally a track. But tracks that he still plays in his live set today: My Winding Wheel, Oh My Sweet Carolina, Come Pick Me Up, Damn Sam, I Love a Woman That Rains. Wonderful. The great Ryan Adams. Not saying anything about his personality. And finally, a great Americana album by an artist who is mainstream. But this is very different. And if you're a fan, you'll know. And that is Springsteen's Seeger Sessions, We Shall Overcome. Still got the hype sticker and the string on this one here. If you saw Springsteen on this tour, none of the bombast, because Springsteen does bombast like nobody else, but he also is brilliant with a light touch and playing quieter music as well. So those of you who've picked up Nebraska, since the re-release came out super recently, will recognize that. But this is, in turns, it's moving, but it's also fun. It's good. It's got old Dan Tucker opens it up. It's great. It's like a lot of this is the songs that were kind of made famous by Pete Seeger and other artists who were around at the time. John Henry, traditional songs as well. John Henry, Erie Canal, absolutely beautiful version of Shenandoah. Pay Me My Money Down. Yeah, so it's both fun and moving, and that's it's an Americana album. So yeah, go buy it if you haven't heard it, or go hear it if you haven't heard it. So there you go. Finally got round to making the case for some of my favourite Americana albums. I hope you've stuck around. Oh, by the way, I've put together a vinyl tag for 2026. And there's an introduction video that I'll put at the end of this video. But the prompts and the questions are going to come out on the 14th of December to give people a chance to make videos if they want to do it during the Christmas holidays. Fantastic. It's a great opportunity for people to say, I'm still here. But also, if anybody out there is watching this video and think, I can talk about this stuff, give it a go. And it's a great way to start. You just pick up the tag. It gives you 20 questions or 20 prompts. You don't have to be super creative and make up your own kind of narrative. You just basically pick, you respond to the 20 prompts. And you talk about your music, you talk about your collection, you talk about your favorites, and so on and so forth. It'll get you started. So there you go. Thanks for watching this video, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye for now.